Hello, hello. So today we're going to review the world's greatest pickup artist in London. He calls himself Thomas Crown. We cannot see his face, obviously, because he has to hide his magnificent face because all of the slaying that he's doing behind the scenes is so underground and is so magnificent that if the world was to see it, he would be exposed and the feminists would come after him because he's such a magnificent PUA. I don't buy it. He's called Crowndaygame Thomas Crown PUA. He's got a skull there. It's a very childish logo. It's like a child put this together. It's something you would see in kindergarten where they're like, I'm going to put a skull there and I'm going to be really cool. Maybe in primary school you would be cool with a logo like this. But as an adult, as soon as you turn 18, it's time to grow the fuck up. Now, this is a PUA who has written all these books and all this content, but I've discovered that he's just copied it from someone else. This guy's not original. He's just regurgitating content from a proper PUA. Someone who's famous and been around. Someone who would have lost his virginity and been picking up girls before Mr. Thomas Crown PUA, Crowndaygame, was even born. I was picking up girls before this guy was born. But anyway, let's just get straight into how much of a fraud this guy is. I've started out by going through some of his old podcasts, and I've also got this is a blog post, okay? So this is 2018, and this one is 3 years ago. So let's just get into what type of... We've gone right to the end of this podcast. Let's just listen to this.
I was trying to not say what's said in one of Krauser's Womanizer's Bible podcasts because I listened to that today and I was like, okay, I'm going to try and not say the same stuff.
He doesn't know what he's talking about, but the point of this bit here...
That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. And...
let's see this again. So he's put out a 30-minute podcast 3 years ago to talk about how to avoid getting in your head before approaching, bad vibe, and the spotlight effect, approaching girls, etc. And what he clearly did was he did research on this topic because he didn't even know it himself. He did research and listened to a podcast by Nick Krauser in order to regurgitate Nick Krauser's content for his own podcast, like a total fucking fraud. Let's listen to this again.
That is it, actually. So that was a bit of a woo-woo podcast. I sort of went around.
It's woo-woo because you don't know what you're talking about.
Around in my head, I went around a little bit there. I was trying to not say what's said in one of Krauser's Womanizer's Bible podcasts because I listened to that today and I was like, okay, I'm going to try and not say the same stuff. Yeah, that's it.
Well, you're a fraud. Well, that's it. We don't really need to listen to this. I did listen to this entire podcast, and this guy has a sad life. It's boring. He goes for 1.5 to 2 hour walks by himself. He's got the same little track that he walks around. The guy's a boring loser. But this podcast here, the entire thing is invalid, and every other podcast is invalid because what he's doing is he's researching the topics, copy-pasting from people who have already been there, like Nick Krauser, and then creating content by regurgitating it. Clearly, the guy is a total fraud, and if you're going to get coaching from anybody in the world, go straight to Nick Krauser, or even read a Nick Krauser book, or go get Nick Krauser's content. Don't even bother talking to a fraud like this. But let's double down. We're going to have a look at his blog post here. And he's like, give 'em hell, kid. Look at this. Look at these. It's like a child created these covers. It's insane. Look at this. Crash Queens and Motor Babies. Oh man, what a child. He just steals his content. But let's read this blog post from 2018. Okay, 2018. The cold January air hit me immediately, and I took a deep breath, drawing a small part of the street itself into my lungs and feeling its vibe. I moved it around my tongue, like a wine taster identifying the subtle flavor notes, then blew it back out. What is this guy writing about? This is the most utter dribble there is. But you go through here, he jumps in front of a girl, he's like, whoa, 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 stop, stop, stop. Okay. That's after he did the Yad stop, which he stole from a guy called Yad. Right then. Hello. I saw you trotting down the street. I noticed you have these sprightly gazelle legs. I would say that that's stolen from Tom Torero. So the stop, the positioning, the physicality of how he got in front of her, the front-on stop, he stole that or copied that from Yad. Pretty much the opener. Sprightly gazelle legs, I would say, would be pretty much something that he stole from Tom Torero. She was then rooted in the spot and certainly interested. He doesn't know anything about a protraction. This is retarded. Looks like he approached a third world immigrant studying in London. Advanced game. Approaching third world immigrants from from a really poor country. Romania is an extremely poor country in Europe. If you're in Australia, if you're in Sydney, Australia, and you approach a Chinese girl, China's one of the richest countries, not only in Asia, but in the entire world, or a Japanese girl as well. It's not the same as speaking to a poor Romanian girl from some country town that's there to learn English or get her life in order. As he said here, I could tell that it made her feel very grown up studying in London. But then what he said, my goodness, I'm sorry, I said, snapping my attention back. I was distracted by your legs. They're very nice. More giggling. Classic Krauser. That's where I'd like to stop this video. I like to make it short and snappy. His stop is stolen from Yad. Some of his verbals, I believe the comment on the legs was stolen from Tom Torero. And he even puts it in his own blog post that part of his verbals was literally just stolen from Krauser, Nick Krauser. He also, in his podcast, as we've already explained here,
I sort of went around in my head, went around a little bit there. I was trying to not say what's said in one of Krauser's Womanizer's Bible podcasts, because I listened to that today and I was like, okay, I'm going to try.
Because I listened to that today. If you are an independent coach, you're coaching anything, and you are still listening to Nick Krauser, then you have absolutely no business coaching anybody. All you should be doing is whenever someone reaches out to you, unless you're an egotistical, narcissistic fraud, when they reach out to you for coaching, you should just be going, Nick Krauser, here's his email. I'll just refer you on to the guy that I stole all of my contacts, all of my content from. That's probably why he hides his face, because he's a total fraud. I think everyone needs to be aware of frauds like this that just steal content, regurgitate content. He's a fraud. Don't get coaching by this fraud, please. And if you ever read any of his blogs and you think it's any good, Just go straight to the source of where his theory comes from. It's just regurgitated from Nick Krauser. Go to Nick Krauser, not this fraud. See you guys in the next video.